Hey gang, coming up on our Finding Better podcast, Alex Husner and Annie Holcombe are joining me, and we're going to talk about transitions. Now, what does that mean? We're going to talk about transitions from one job to a better job, from one career to a better career, from one life to a better life. It's very, very cool. We're going to talk about mindset and relationships, and we're going to talk about what we're so excited for the future and what that's all about. So thank you for joining us. Please subscribe. Please share this. Great conversation. Here we go. Hello, 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 and welcome back to our Finding Better podcast. My name is John Suzuki, and I am your host. And this is where we share real life experiences of people who have been there and done that. Because, sometimes the best path to success is to follow in the footsteps of others who have gone through it, right? Whatever it is. We're going to talk about a lot of really timely things today, most notably transition. Because, in the world that we're living in, it is changing faster and more dramatically than ever before. And building that muscle of being able to transition from where you are today to where you want to be is becoming more and more important and will become critical moving forward. My guest today are Alex Husner and Annie Holcombe. And I am thrilled to have them on today. We're going to talk about so many things. Okay, so just by first introduction, Alex is a seasoned vacation rental marketing expert with over 15 years in hospitality experience. About 2 years ago, she left the corporate world. Sound familiar to some of you guys? She left the corporate world to pursue her own initiatives with her own company as CEO and founder of Directly Alex, which is a consulting firm. And one of the things that she said was that transition taught her that reinvention, get this, reinvention is not about retreat, it's not about starting over. It's about taking everything you've learned, taking the relationships you've built and the credibility you've earned and using it in a different way. That's pretty cool. We're going to talk about that. Okay, Annie. Annie has been in the hospitality and the vacation rental industry since 1992. I'll let you do the math. It's a long time ago. And with over 30 years of relationships, more like 34, but of relationships, pattern recognition, and real world experience across every corner of the industry, she's not here to recycle conventional wisdom. That's not what we're here for. She's here to open our minds and give us perspectives on the importance of building strong relationships moving forward. Alex and Annie, I'm thrilled to have you. Welcome to Finding Better.
Well, thank you. We're honored to be here. We love talking with you. You're always one of those just infuses so much energy in the conversation in our lives. So thank you for
Yeah,
having
what else? I
us.
mean, what's the option, right? Um, who wants to be boring and all that stuff? Okay, good. So you guys run a really successful podcast called Alex and Annie, and I didn't mention that in the introduction, but you guys are growing. It's an award-winning podcast. And let's talk just a little bit about where you guys were because you guys haven't been doing the podcast forever, but you guys have a story in terms of having gone from your previous world into what you guys are doing today. And I'd love to talk about that. Love to talk about that transition and how that all happened. Who wants to start?
Oh
Alex is good
boy.
at really summarizing all this, so I'll let her
Okay,
go.
all right, good.
We've told the story a few times now.
Yeah.
And honestly, it feels like yesterday in some ways. It feels like forever ago in other ways. But yeah, the podcast really became the vehicle for Annie and I to just transition both professionally and personally in a lot of different ways. And it started right outside of COVID, I guess, that we had worked together. I worked with a company that she worked with another company that had a partnership. And so we got to know each other and became friends. And we started doing these clubhouses, which your listeners might not even remember Clubhouse. It was kind of a fad, but it was really big during COVID that it was audio only. And it was only when these sessions would come on, you had to listen in the now because they weren't recorded anywhere. And Annie was hosting quite a few of them, and she invited me to come on I think our first one was about tours and activities, which is interesting now for both of us too. But we enjoyed the conversation. We thought, gosh, there should be a podcast where we could actually use this content and people could go back and listen to it. And so it was kind of a joke. And then we were at VRMA, the big trade show conference for vacation rental industry, and this was the first time everybody was back after COVID, and we put it out there that we were thinking about doing this podcast. And I guess it means maybe it seemed more official that we were doing it. And everybody was so excited, wanted to know when it came out and what it was going to be about. And we really had none of that figured out at that point. We just knew we're going to call it Alex and Annie, and it's going to be about vacation rentals. And we've stayed pretty true to that. But that when we launched the show, we had so much tailwinds behind us of the industry that seemed to want to know, what we had to say about things, I guess, because we do have a lot of experience in it. But it really opened up our eyes to, the power of podcasting, but also just the experience that both of us had individually, and then how powerful that would be to come together collectively. And we just kind of kept going with each iteration and each different thing that happened, and a lot of things happened. I mean, I realized for probably the first time in 13 years being with the previous company that I was ready for another challenge, and I was ready to go see the world outside of the Myrtle Beach area where I was, and wanted to learn more about the global industry of vacation rentals, and the podcast seemed like a good way to do that. And Annie was at kind of a juncture with her career too. And fast forward a year later, we both announced within a week of each other that we had left those two jobs, moved to two, I would say, more elevated positions within the industry. The podcast was taking off all at the same time. So it was just a lot of good momentum, and we've continued that, and we've had other changes that have happened, as I mentioned, personally, professionally since then. But the podcast has always kind of been the steady thing in our lives for the past 5 years, and has just really opened up a lot of doors for us. So
That is amazing.
it's been a good thing.
I just want to unwind a couple of things that you just said, and then
Sure.
I want to get your views on this as well. So you guys started the podcast as a thing, right?
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
Yeah.
just
Just an
It was just
idea.
it was
it
just a
wasn't even
thing.
a
Yeah.
podcast,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it was a thing just to connect people. And
Yep.
Yeah.
then one thing, now, when you guys started that thing, did you ever expect, or was any of your goals wrapped around this podcast becoming something that would change your life?
No, I mean,
No.
I think we had a good idea that we could make it like pretty good, and it would be fun, but I don't think
Yeah,
we had an idea it would get to where it is. But when you just said that, made me think of something. Like, I think the thing that I love the most about the podcast and about this business is the only limits really are our creativity. That, like, we
right,
can do anything
right.
with this. I mean, like, well, there are so many different other avenues outside of the podcast that we can explore. And it's not like we're having to go build a widget or hire a team of people to, build technology or anything like that. It's really about we just convene people and communities, and we can do all sorts of cool things. So it's fun to have a business where we can try stuff, and if it doesn't come out the way that we want it, we can pivot and do something else, but we're not tied down to, something you have to manufacture or anything along those lines. So
Yeah.
it gives us a lot of just open space to be creative and test things and have fun.
And Annie,
Yeah.
how
I
about
don't,
you?
I think I always think back, and the one part that Alex left out is always my favorite part of this story is when
Sorry.
we had been talking, granted, like we'd been talking about this for months and like texting each other, and just the funny, I had the Bitmoji app on my phone, and we were playing with it. And that was kind of how that all kind of, we were at the VRMA, and I'm waiting for her, and she texts me and she's like, hey, where are you? And I was like, in the lobby or whatever. And she's like, come to the bathroom. And I was like, okay, I can wait for you. Like, exactly. Like, that's just not, you just come
That's
to the
weird.
bathroom. I was like, surely, exactly. So she's like, no, you really need to come in the bathroom. So like in my mind, I'm thinking, okay,
What's going
do I
on?
not know Alex enough? Like, what kind of joke is she going to play on me? And so I go into the bathroom, and there's these two girls that have like their whole lives strewn all over the bathroom because they were trying to change and get ready, but they couldn't get into their rental. They were staying in a short-term rental, but not at the hotel. And so they were just all over the place. But they both stood up and looked at me, and they had these shirts on that said, "Ask me about my podcast." And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like so random. So we ended up talking to them for about 20 minutes. And it turns out it's Annette and Sarah who had the Thanks for Visiting podcast on the STR side of the business.
Sure.
And we ended up talking to them for quite some time and several other people, and they were just very encouraging about it. And so it was one of those things where it was like what's interesting is we the theme of the podcast started out to be the aha moments that kind of people had that made them create what they did. So we named our company Aha Moments, and that was our aha moment. That was like we
Hmm.
just put it
Yeah.
out there, and Alex is super good and intuitive about going, you know what, we'll figure it out. Let's just say it and like
I
put it out in
love
the
it.
universe, and that whole
Yep.
manifestation thing. And so I've like bought into that. I mean, I drank the Kool-Aid. Now I'm completely on board with manifestation. You just put it out there and you'll figure it out. And so we did. We like walked out of a session. She goes, let's just do it. I was like, okay, let's just do it. So within like 15, 20 minutes, everybody's, out of the last session in the bar, and they're like, oh my gosh. And like she said, they wanted to know what was going to happen. And we were like, well, I don't know, maybe we should like get some equipment, like figure out how you
Yeah, a
record,
microphone.
like, we had
We had
no
no
idea what we
idea.
were doing, but we put it out there. And again, we're going into our fifth year, almost sixth year. And it's like, we never thought it would do this. But what
Incredible.
for me was interesting was that once we put it out there and we started having it, was like I had transitioned out of property management over into like the OTA world and then into the technology space. I was working at channel management, and there were people that would never take my phone calls, never talk to me, had no interest in, I was a salesperson, so I was one of those people. But all of a sudden they were coming to me going, I'd love to talk to you. It was like
Yeah.
people that wouldn't take your calls all of a sudden were interested to tell you everything about their story. And it
That's
just opened
wonderful.
up this whole world that you didn't even know existed.
And the thing that I want to just kind of mention to my audience is, you guys just stepped into it, right? It's not
Hmm.
like you were looking for this great big thing, right? You just
Yeah.
decided to do something that you thought was fun and would help people and that might engage people. And then it kind of grew, and then you learned, and then it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and now all of a sudden you're an award-winning podcast. And one of the things I encourage people to do is try stuff. Just
Yeah.
do stuff, right?
Yeah.
The thing that your stuff was you just decided to get people together and talk on the phone, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
During
Exactly. That's what it
COVID.
is.
And
Yeah.
Right.
I don't care what your interests are. I don't care if it's cleaning pools or going surfing or doing whatever it is, right? I love the theme that one of the themes I'm living my whole life is connecting people,
Hmm.
bringing
Yeah.
people together.
Yeah.
My little podcast that you guys are on right now isn't nearly as successful as yours is, but I'll tell you something. When I started my podcast, I had a goal of having one subscriber.
Yeah.
That's
Mm.
all. Because my daughter
Yeah.
told me, she says, Dad, you've always told us that if you lift one person, you lift the world. So go lift
Yep.
somebody, will you?
Yep.
Oh, I love that.
And now I'm approaching 4,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. It's crazy.
That's
It's
amazing.
crazy,
Yeah.
and it's
That's
just
really
really,
good.
really wonderful, and it's been such a joy. And so, let's talk about the world that we're living in, because you guys left the corporate world, you guys transitioned, and I want to talk about this idea of transitioning, because lots of people are transitioning today, whether they want to or not,
Yeah.
Hmm.
because of the rise of AI, and it's only going to get worse before it gets better, but it will get
Yeah.
better.
Hmm.
Yep.
Having said that, when Alex, let's start with you. When you left the corporate world, pretty scary, right?
Yeah, yeah, it was. And so when I left the job I was with for 13 years, I went on to a bigger job in the corporate world, did that for a year. But then what I realized actually was, and it's what I knew all along, is that I mean, the value that I bring to people really is the collective experience that I've had all those years, and that I do love connecting people. And I got to see in that one year at the other company, like, my your network is your net worth, and I totally believe that. But that if you develop those relationships and those people skills, I mean, you have connections, you can do whatever you want to do. I mean, like, you're not stuck in one way of doing life and career. You can do other things, but it is super scary though, because it's like you're betting on yourself, and like if this doesn't work out, and I think I always said that in the back of my mind of if it doesn't work out, I can always just go back and get a job working for a company. But and that's not awful either. But like it's worth it to give it a shot. And then now being on the other side of that, and seeing the flexibility that you have in the line of work that we do, it's kind of nice. I mean, I was used to going to an office every day for 13 years from 9 to 5, and some days it wasn't necessary that I needed to be there, but I still had to be there because that's what, the protocol was. And I think our world has really evolved that you can get more done in less time and still have more of a life as long as you set it up to be that way.
Yeah, yeah. And I love that. I love what you said that, and I'm going to paraphrase that one of the hardest things for you was to come to terms with betting on yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Your value that you provide in any company was in you, right? And
Yeah.
I think people go, well, yeah, that's obvious, but the perspective that you just gave, Alex, is okay, you're valuable to the company, therefore make this bridge this little comment that says you're valuable to yourself, and the value to your company is a value that you can have that you can offer anybody else on your own.
Yeah. And
Um,
I did start thinking for a long time though, what if I'm really not as valuable as I think I am? Because if you've been with something for a long time, it's like, what if I get on the other side of this and I realize, wow, like the company was why I was successful, and that's a common thing I think that people really struggle with when they're trying to make a big leap or change something about their career.
so how did you overcome that? How did you bridge that fear to actually take action?
I think the podcast really helped with it. That I had
Okay.
seen, okay, I can do something else that it's adjacent to that job that I had at that time. It's within the industry, but I'm seeing I have the ability to create something and make it successful. That was a big confidence boost, really. And I think just
Wonderful.
taking that mindset of, okay, I need to build out what this new career looks like for myself. But when you have those examples and you can reference like I've done it before, I can do it again. It definitely helps. It definitely helps. You
And
just got to keep remembering those things.
gosh, I just love what you guys are talking about, Alex and Annie, because what you also just said was you started with a hobby, right?
Hmm.
I mean, you didn't go, hey, let's get people on the phone and I'm going to quit my job, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You did that as part of your life, and you said, hey, this could be pretty cool. Let's try it. And then you
Yeah.
tried it and you tried it some more and you tried it some more. And then you got to a point where you said, wait a minute, right? And that's cool. That's cool. That is a really wonderful path that people can follow,
Yep.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, for
So
sure.
absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Annie, okay, spill it.
Well, I took a little longer to come around to the jump out and do your own thing trend, but I similar in that it all had to feel right, but I had been it was trying to find that comfort in your footing. And one of the things that we look back on, there's a friend of ours that was our first guest on the podcast. Our first show was just us talking about why we were doing this, and our second guest was somebody we didn't actually know, but we knew she had a podcast. We kind of had met her in the industry. She seemed like she would be good, and she God bless her, like we recorded with her 3 or 4 different times because we just couldn't figure out what we were doing, and she kept like stick with it, stick with it, stick with it. But we had had a dinner with her when we first met, and I just told her that I didn't know what I was. I just felt like I was this. I jokingly said that I was like a mutt of the industry because I had had so many different experiences. I had no specific like line of pedigree, like I just wasn't in any specific lane. And she looked at me and she said, "That's your superpower." And it took
Hmm.
me from that conversation till, about almost a year ago now to really like understand that I didn't need to be one specific thing. What I could bring was just all this experience and my lens from being 3 different positions in the industry and really touching all the points of it. Where Alex is very good at a lot of things as well, but she like kind of hones in on like specific like with marketing, where I can do like marketing and I can do sales and I can do business development
Hmm.
owners and distribution. I can do all the things, so, but I can go tap into so like if I need something very specific, I'm going to go to Alex, or another one of our friends in this industry. But it really took me understanding that that in itself was powerful and that people wanted that and they wanted guidance. And there was a lot of people that had jumped into this industry, especially post COVID, that were just, they were just muddling through it. Like there
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
everything was as clear as mud and there was no one place to go for information. So when I started really understanding that every little piece of my experience was really part of a bigger tapestry that was woven for me and
Mhm.
where I am now and being comfortable in that, that was like, okay, I can do this. And so I think that it took me a little longer, but to Alex's point, I think we all suffer from that, whether you want to call it imposter syndrome or you just want to call it self-doubt or self-loathing or whatever it is. I mean, that voice in your head is pretty darn powerful at times.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I think it's all it's super power. They say that we all have childhood crap stuck in our heads, right?
Hmm.
I know
Mhm.
I do. And the reason why I know I do is because I stick that same crap in my kids' heads. And here's the thing,
Yeah.
it's not on purpose. It's
No.
not on
Right,
purpose.
right.
Sometimes it is on purpose. I try it
As
not
a
to be, but in
lesson.
my dad's
Yeah.
case,
Yeah.
I knew it was on purpose because, things that he told me, you're not good enough.
Oh,
Why are you
yeah.
even doing this? Stop. You're embarrassing
Yeah.
yourself.
Mm,
Stuff like that. But even when we're doing things to protect our kids and the people we love, right? You don't want them to be disappointed. You don't want them to
Yeah.
take chances that they shouldn't take. I mean, we're planting crap in their heads that's saying, I can't do this,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so when it gets
Yeah.
to the point where you guys were at, we're all sitting there going, am I good enough? Am I
Yeah.
good enough? You know,
Yeah.
I remember sitting one day, I was stuck at LAX. I hate that airport. It's the world's worst airport. But anyway, I
It's
was
Oh, we
not
were
stuck,
great. Yeah, we
we
were
were
just
just
there.
there. No, it's
Not
right?
definitely
great.
not. It's a
Right?
zoo.
Terrible. But
Yeah.
anyway, so if I can avoid it, I avoid it like the plague. But anyway, I was sitting in the terminal and I was just kind of sitting there and I'm watching people go by. And I'm watching, kids going by and older people going by and grandmas and grandpas going by. And I'm just looking at these people, watching them go by. And I realized, I sat back and I said, every single one of these people, whether it be the 5-year-old or the 85-year-old, can teach me something.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Every one of
Yeah.
them, right?
Yeah.
And that whole confidence thing of that mindset of I'm not good enough or don't take the chance. Um, yeah, getting to that point is really hard.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a
Um,
mindset. It's a
It's
mindset.
it's a mindset. What do you mean by that, Annie? It's a
So
mindset.
I think, it's interesting. I had a dear friend of mine that passed away about 2 years ago, it'll be 3 years this summer. And her name was Joy. And so she was just, her family called her Joyful. And she was just everywhere she went, she was like, hey, love, hey, love. She was always just very happy. And she chose joy all the time. And it really, I think
She
that's what this
chose
is.
joy.
She chose joy.
She
She
shows
chose to
joy.
chose
be
Yeah.
joyful in that moment. And she taught me that everything that you look at, you can look at it through two lenses. You can look at it through a lens of like impossibility or infeasibility or like like a negative mindset, or you can look at it with like a sense of wonder and joy and purpose and take that path and really, really focus on that. And so me personally, that has been a focus for my mindset is that I can't control what's happening necessarily, but I can control how I feel about it or how I react. And so
yeah.
I'm choosing joy. I'm choosing to be happy. I'm choosing that it's not going to be forever. And, to your point about all the changes that are happening, like it's really scary right now. It's very scary.
Yeah.
My son lost his job at his company due to Doge and also like what's happening in technology because he's in cybersecurity. And so like it's just understanding that everything we have these seismic shifts every once in a while and you have to go into it with a mindset of like it's not going to last forever. It's going to be okay, but if you don't let the doom and gloom like succumb your all of your thoughts, you're putting out all this negative energy, which is attracting negative energy. So put out
Hmm.
positive and look for the joy and look for the rainbows and the sunshine and the what is it, the rainbows, puppies, unicorns, and cupcakes, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I just choose to do that, and once I really, really focused on doing that, I have to say the amount of like anxiety I felt about anything that I was doing was diminished. It didn't go away. I mean, I still have anxiety about things and I
Sure.
still worry, but it doesn't consume me at the level that it used to.
Mhm.
I like to think that when you decided to focus on ponies and horses and unicorns and rainbows, that you started seeing ponies,
Mm.
horses, unicorns, and rainbows,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you
Well,
decide
she
to,
has now because she sees the horse that I just
Horse.
bought. So
Yep.
she sees my pictures
oh,
all the
whoa,
time.
there you
Yeah.
go, there you
Yeah.
go. So yeah, and I'll also just say this, and I want to get your thoughts, Alex, is the other thing that I talk to people about all the time is you can look at the world as a world of scarcity, or you can look
Yeah.
at it as a world of abundance. And
Hmm.
and you're both and they're both right, right?
Hmm.
Hmm.
But if you look at it from a standpoint of scarcity, it's going to be a very scary journey for you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But
I totally agree on
if
that.
you
Yeah.
choose to look at it from the perspective of abundance, it's out there, right?
Yeah.
And it becomes a much less scary place if you can put such a mindset around that. Alex, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree completely. And I think when you look at the world from the perspective of there's enough for everybody, the abundance mindset, that's how you end up connecting with people in a different way. And you have collaborations and partnerships that come from that mentality. When you have the scarcity mindset, you typically stay blocked off to a lot of things that like either you have to win and have to win all the business or whatever it is, or, it's been a complete failure. And it's like you end up missing on opportunities that could have gotten you so much further. It might have looked different than you had in your head originally, but it could have gotten you so much further ahead. We see that in our industry for sure. I mean, a lot of, it's a competitive industry, whether it's a property manager in one location against each other, not as much, not as bad on that side, but within the tech suppliers and stuff like we see, it's very, very competitive. But
Hmm.
at the end of the day, everybody has a different take on how they're going to do something. And I don't care what industry it is, relationships are what power how the world works, and people are still going to want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And so, I mean, if you're building those relationships, you're going to be able to benefit, from things in a way that somebody that has stayed closed off is not going to be able to access.
So I want to talk about relationships now, but just to wrap up the whole thing about mindset, folks, your mindset is your choice.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It is your
Yeah.
choice,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
People go, oh yeah, but I live in a really crappy place. It is your choice,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
yeah.
and you can have a positive mindset, a mindset of abundance, or you can choose to have a negative one. I will say, and I think Annie and Alex will both agree with me, having a positive mindset of abundance, is a lot more fun.
It
It's a
really
lot more
is.
fun.
It
Yeah.
really
And
is.
And when you meet people that don't, it's like oil and water, Like, I
Yeah.
mean, it's
You
Yeah.
it's
can
funny with,
feel it. Yeah, you can just
yeah, I
feel
mean,
it.
like, I remember when we did launch the podcast, people came up to us and they were like, "Oh, like, are you mad that this person listens to this other podcast?" And we're like, "No, why in the world would we be mad about that?" I mean, like, people watch
Wow.
different TV channels. Like, I mean, like, people
Yeah.
listen to
Yeah.
tons
Yeah.
of podcasts, and some are the same theme or industry that I listen to, but it's not a mere just us or them situation. It's like the more the merrier. I mean, we're
Yeah.
authentically show up as ourselves, and I hope that everybody else does too. And
There
the
you
people
go.
that are going to be your audience or that you're going to connect with in life, they're going to find you. But it is, you're 100% right. It is a mindset for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and one of the things as we're moving forward into this new world, a friend of mine, it just blew my mind the other day. Blew my mind. I made the comment to her. I said, the change is happening and people hate change. She goes, no, they don't. People don't hate change.
Oh, interesting.
I said, what do you mean? She goes, they hate the transition to change.
And the uncertainty,
The
probably.
uncertainty of
Yeah, that
change,
makes
but they don't.
sense.
Most people
Yeah.
love change. I mean, when we went from the telephone to this thing, people love it.
Yeah.
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 Right?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, whatever. But it's figuring out, and when you have this mindset, the other thing, it opens your mind. It
Hmm.
Hmm.
opens your mind. And being able to open your mind and being able to see new opportunities, seeing the world changing, seeing different things, because you know what? The world that we grew up in is going to be very different day after tomorrow.
Yeah.
and the
Hmm.
opportunities are going to be very different. So I love that conversational mindset. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Moving into strong relationships. That was a theme that both of you guys have. Let's talk about that and how having and building strong, good relationships. First of all, how that's impacted your lives, and secondly, how to do that.
Yeah. I don't know, Alex, you want to go first or?
You can go.
Okay. So for me, I think I was I didn't have a lot of friends growing up, and I was always, and I can only imagine how much worse it is now for kids like growing up where they
Yeah.
see, in social media like this perception that people have
Oh
thousands
my
of
God.
friends and they're so popular. And I mean, when you're going through your teenage years, it's already awkward enough to walk through the halls of your school and not feel like you fit in. And so I think you have that. But what I realized over time, and Alex was one of the first that kind of entered the space for me. So probably the catalyst for a lot of the relationships, well, certainly catalyst for the closest relationships I have, is that you don't need to have this like big posse of people that travel with you and that you can
Hmm.
always go to, and that every time you walk in a room, you know everybody. You just need to have a few people that you can go to with every weird thing about you, and there is zero judgment about it. There might be a little like,
Yeah.
well, maybe I wouldn't have done that, but that's good feedback. But you don't need to have like this entire audience of people that is lifting you up, because the ones that matter are going to be there. And I think it's just allowing your life to evolve and get to that time. Everybody gets to it in a different place. I just turned 55 last year, so I feel like it's taken 55 years to kind of figure that out. Some people figure it out sooner and some people figure it out later. But the fact that, when you're 18 or whatever, you think you've got to have all the answers and all the friends. And if you don't have your tribe, you're going to die an old, a spinster or miserable or whatever it be. I mean, it's just, you just need the people that fit in your life. um, and they come at the right moment. And I would say, like, just don't try to force it, because as sure as you do, that's there you're not bonding with people at the level that it makes a lasting connection. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
It
it's
totally
just it's
does.
Hmm.
really, yeah. I mean, people will come when they're meant to be there, and some will come and go, but the ones that are meant to be with you will be there through thick and thin.
I have to say something about that. Okay, so
Yes.
people come into our lives all the time, right?
Yep.
Um, and some people, you never know. You never know. Just like you setting up this connecting thing with phone calls, right? You
Yeah.
just never know what's going to happen, right? Start with one. Start with one. And the thing that we're talking about are long-term relationships. Long-term relationships don't happen overnight, right?
Mm,
I mean, they happen over
Hmm.
time.
time.
And I
Yeah.
love what you said, Annie, about you don't need a whole entourage of people following you into restaurants. But just start building relationships. And you know, to me, building strong relationships is about taking care of people.
Hmm.
I just feel that way. If
A
you take
hundred
care of
percent.
people, there will be some people who don't and don't reciprocate, but there will be some that do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
One of the most powerful things I've heard in my life, and I believe this with every bit of my soul, is that, and I think it was Maya Angelou who said it, was like, people won't remember what you did for them, but they will always remember how you made them feel. And
yeah,
to
Hmm.
me, that is so important. It was just like, I want to leave a room with people feeling better for having met me for whatever
Hmm.
capacity it is. And even if it was just for a brief moment, I want them, if they remember me at all, I want them to go like, that was something that I'm glad I experienced. Not like, oh God, what was that? Like it's just,
Yeah.
so that's important for me.
that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, Alex, how important are relationships? Are they important?
Yeah, they
No.
are. And actually, it made me think of another one of our classic stories, that the first time that Annie and I had met in person, and let
Mm,
me back up a little bit before that, but when I was working with the company for 13 years and she was a supplier of ours, I mean, we were on emails, we were on calls together, but by no means were we close friends or anything like that. But we just, our chemistry, like we, got along well, and we were respectful and, friendly to each other. But I went to the first conference by myself without my entourage of the company and everything down in Miami. And I remember Annie said she was going to be there. And that morning before that conference, I was so nervous walking in. I mean, I never get nervous about that these days, but this was very nerve wracking. I wasn't going to know a lot of people. And I'll never forget getting ready in the bathroom that morning and like listening to my hype playlist of like, trying to get like excited about this and not be nervous. But as soon as I got in there, I felt nervous and I saw Annie and I went and I sat down with her and we started talking about our dogs and like things completely unrelated to that conference. But I walked in with such nerves and then seeing her and like absorbing her energy just calmed me down. And then at that point, when I started going talking to other people in the room, I was in a better position of like, I saw somebody who saw me and, was kind and just, probably could sense that I was nervous, and it started a good situation there for the rest of that conference. And I always try and think about that now when we're in those shoes, that we see people at these events that they seem like they're nervous, and like you have to remember how it felt at that time. But it all stems back to relationships, and I think it's really important the timing of the relationships when they come into your life. And we're very big believers in this, that people come in at the time that you need them. And for some people they're there for a season and then they're gone, but like you learned a lot from them and now they're on their way. But some people, they stay for the long haul, and I think you have to just kind of have that mindset of learn what you can from people, and the ones that are really meant for you, they're going to stick with you in the journey. Annie's for sure one of those people for me, and we've got several other good girlfriends. Not several, because we don't have tons of friends, but like we have a small group that like we're all there for each other. And it's like, to Annie's point, it's just nice knowing that you have somebody that has your back no matter what, and doesn't judge and just cares about you. But you have to invest in the relationship, and you have to look for the signs of like, I saw too many signs of like we were bound to be friends and this was going to go somewhere, and obviously it did.
And the signs are
Totally
saying,
unavoidable.
"Listen to me, listen
Yeah,
to
exactly.
me."
There's something with this. I'm
It
not
was
sure what.
unavoidable. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I just had an experience just this morning, just a couple hours ago. I had butt dialed somebody. Okay. And if I ever butt dial you guys, I am so sorry. My kids saw me one day and they're like, "Dad, you're always butt dialing us. Why are you doing it?" And one day I was talking to somebody on the phone, and I ended the call and I put my phone down. I wasn't touching it. And it dialed somebody right in front of my kid. And they said, "What just happened?" I don't know. My phone just has a life of its own. But anyway, it happened to
Mm.
call a guy named Dennis McElveen, who was one of my customers. I hadn't
Yeah,
spoken to in 5 years.
I know
And
that
I
name.
hear this voice going, "Hello, John, John, you there? Hello." And I picked it up and I'm like, how did Dennis get on? So I pick up the phone and said, "Oh my God, Dennis, I'm so sorry. I just butt dialed you." And we had this great conversation, and we ended the conversation. As you know, I'm retired and I'm back in the industry again. And he says to me, he says, "So when am I going to get to see you? When are you going to come visit me in South Carolina?" I said, "Later this year." He goes, "You need to come and talk to me. Tell me what you're doing. I want to take you to
Yeah,
dinner."
Mm.
And I'm like, wow, I mean, that came from a
yeah.
butt dial.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I think it's like the universe plays into all this too, of like
Yeah.
some
and it
those
does. Yeah.
miraculous things
Yeah.
happen for a reason to get you excited about what you're doing too, and that people still want to meet with you and hear about what you're doing.
Yeah. And but you take care of people. You
Yeah.
take care of people.
Yeah.
At least that's what I found, right?
Agreed.
And you
Yeah.
you 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 try to be a positive force in everybody's life, and things just kind of happen. Energy
Yeah.
follows energy, like you just
Yes.
said,
Yes.
right?
Totally
Energy is
true.
huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Holy cow. So yeah, God, I've been taking notes this whole time. All right, so let's close with this. What do you, I want an answer from both of you guys. What are you guys so excited about for the future? And yeah, what excites you about our future? and our future
About
together.
our future or
Yeah, yeah,
about
yeah.
Or
just,
About
just,
you
okay.
can answer it about your future or about the future. Either
Mm.
way.
mm,
Well, let's see. I mean, about Annie and I's future, I think we're excited. We've got a lot of different things that we've been wanting to do, and now have built more confidence that we're trying to do with the podcast and different ways to continue to grow it. And we hired our first part-time. Well, no, our editor's a part-time employee, but we hired another part-time employee that's more on, not on the editing side, but on like the management of the business side. So that was exciting for us.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot of things planned on that side. I think for where we are in general as a society, I mean, to Annie's point, I mean, like we read a ton of astrology stuff. Like this is big. I mean, like this year is a massive, just like changing force for everybody, no matter where you are. And so I think there's anxiety about that, but also leaning into everything that we talked about in the last 45 minutes of you have to have the right mindset to know that you don't have to have everything out. You don't have to have all the answers, but you have to trust your gut and follow the signs and, just, use your intention to get where you want to be. But I think the future is going to be very different when we look back and to your earlier point, John, I think for the better, but we don't know what that is. So it's exciting, I guess you could say that it's like there's a painting being painted right now. Hopefully it's a beautiful painting that we don't really know what that's going to look like. And that's never happened in my lifetime to this date. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I like to say that if we survive this, and what we're talking about is artificial
we can
intelligence and the
survive
right,
Yeah.
anything after
yeah, if
that.
we survive it, right? I mean, our world in 5, 7, 10 years is going to be very, very different. I think it's going to be amazing. The
Yeah.
question is, between now and then, called the messy middle,
Yeah.
hmm
what's going to happen? And
Yeah.
that can be either really scary or really exciting. I like to think
Yeah.
of it
Yeah.
as really exciting, but yeah.
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 So
I feel
Annie,
like I'm on a roller coaster at like Universal Studios and and I'm hoping at the end of it I don't get off and throw up, but I get off of it and go, "Oh my gosh, I should have done that sooner,"
What a
you know.
ride.
But
Yeah.
it does feel like, okay, you're going up this hill and then you fall down the hill and then there's a loop and oh my God, and then there's a corkscrew and like there's just all these things that are coming out of nowhere. Um that you just don't know, and we joke about it on the show all the time. It's like, AI is the overarching theme for every conversation. And it was funny because I was listening to a podcast that I loved yesterday, and they're in like the Hollywood space, and they were talking about AI, and one of the guys tends to be more negative in his approach to questions, and he was like, well, don't you think AI is going to get rid of everybody? And the guy was like, oh heck no, he's like, it's going to make it so much better. And he was just like, again, the mindset
yeah,
about what the
yeah, yeah, that's
possibilities
right.
are. And it was interesting to me because these are Hollywood writers, and that's, those people are scared. And I completely understand it. My husband is in marketing and advertising and, copywriter by trade. And, yes, I can see where it scares people, but I also think that it's opening up doors that we didn't even know existed.
Exactly,
Yeah.
And I
exactly.
want to say
I'm
one thing before we go
yeah.
anywhere further. John, I looked up your podcast on Listen Notes, and I just want to say your listen score is 30 and you're in the top 5% global rank. So I
Wow.
What?
Wow.
think that you have a pretty good, yeah, a
And you
pretty
didn't
impressive
even know.
podcast. So, I mean, you need to give yourself
Wow.
more credit for what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll send
thank
it to
you.
you. This is quite impressive. So,
Yeah. That's
next time you say
huge.
you don't have a big podcast, you clearly do.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, this is, the world that we're in right now is one. I mean, nobody knows. I loved your analogy of a roller coaster, Annie. What a great analogy, right? In the roller coaster, there's a parts that you just get really nervous about, and that's when the
Yeah.
roller coaster's going up and going good, 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 good,
And you're
good, good,
like,
good,
oh
good,
God.
right? And then you
Yeah.
get over the top, and then all of a sudden you're screaming and you're happy, and then you see this big old corkscrew or whatever, this loop coming up, and you get scared. And
Yep.
Yeah.
but at the end
It's
of
a
the
white
day,
knuckle ride.
yeah,
Yep.
your knuckles are all white,
Yep.
folks. That's what's happening. That's what's going
Yeah.
to happen.
Yeah.
But you can approach it like a roller coaster and have a lot of fun with it too. So,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
all right. So speaking of AI, give us a leave behind on something that you've used AI for that has helped your life.
Um, so this is completely random and I shouldn't admit this, but
Perfect.
so we were in London a few weeks back at a conference and I was trying to find a specific gift for my husband, but I didn't know, never been in Heathrow Airport before, so I had no idea. So I went to I used Claude, but I was calling him Clarity Claude because I felt like he was helping me find clearer thoughts. So I call him Claudity. So I went to Claudity and I was like, "Can you tell me where I can find this item in the Heathrow Airport?" And he spit back all the places that I could not find what I was looking for and where I needed to go, which was nowhere near Heathrow Airport. So I wasn't going to
Okay.
be able to get my husband the item that I wanted. But it's just the amount of information that it can grab you so quickly. We use Google Maps and we use maps, we use navigation, but it's like I used it to tell me it broke down the entire terminal I was in and what stores and what had what and where I could ask. I mean, it was incredible. So again, very random, and I don't know that I would use that often, but if you get stuck in a large airport in a city you've never been in, you can use your AI to help
That is a
you.
great example. And I've used that myself on where can I find this product? Where's the best
Right.
place
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
go, either online or in where I am right now in the San Diego area. And it comes back and it tells me, go to these
Yeah.
places. You know,
Yeah.
I asked the other day, I asked it, I used the Costco Orgain protein powder. I asked it, I
Hmm.
said, how does this rank on other protein powders? And it came back, it said,
Yeah.
it's a really good protein powder. I'm like, okay, great, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing? We get that validation. We're like, okay, just wanted to make sure, like I'm making a good
Not
decision.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've used it
Yeah.
for so many things like that.
Yeah.
And actually, I've used it for buying a present for my husband too. That kind of went down a rabbit hole of I didn't know what to buy, and so like went through watches and different things. And we were in Italy, and so like it took me through a lot of different instances, but we narrowed down to a watch, and then it helped me find where that watch was in relation to where I was. And it's like, you could do that prior to having a chat GPT or a Claude, but it would take a lot longer and a
Yeah.
lot more
Yeah.
going to multiple websites to be able
Right.
to do that. But I mean, I basically ask it everything. I mean, it's crazy how much now you're reliant on it as a source of information. But and the other thing is too, like I feel like I mean, I use Chat GPT more for asking questions. I use Claude more for work things. I'm not sure why. I mean, it might just end up that I eventually just start using Claude for everything. But I feel like it's a friend in a way. And I use the voice section of it that if I'm busy getting ready, I'll do it like a podcast. And if it's a long answer, I'll put it on audio and I'll listen to. I have a guy that talks to me that will say the answer to things, and it's kind of like a therapist in a lot of ways too.
Yeah.
The information that you can get, and like sometimes it's like, okay, I just needed somebody to tell me that. It's not even a somebody, but like I needed a voice to explain something to me, or talk me into a or out of a situation. But it's wild.
Yeah.
It is. What you just said, Alex, I've never done that. I've never used Claude or ChatGPT to
Yeah, you can
talk to me
customize
about
the
this.
voice if it's a man or a woman, if they have an accent, like there's
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff. So
We
if I
have a
have like,
friend that does it and she will have you tell your dreams to it and she has like files saved for the different people that she's done it with me several times actually. She's traveled with me twice and has done it and like broken my dreams down where it like tells you the meaning and the significance of specific portions of your dream if you have a really vivid dream. And the two that I've had that she's done with me, one most recently actually in London, it broke down like so much that was happening in my life like recently and just like spelled it all out. It was very bizarre, but I mean, they just
Really?
it can yeah, it was
yeah,
crazy. Yeah,
yeah,
Huh. Okay. Well, folks,
John's
there
gonna
you
be
have
doing.
it.
He's gonna be breaking his dreams
all
down. I
different
love it.
things you can think of to ask it.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
right.
And on all my podcasts, I'm asking that question. So people can just
Yeah,
learn. There's somebody out there who's going to say, hey, next time I have a vivid dream, I'm going to ask ChatGPT what
right.
it was
Yeah,
about, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
great. That's
yeah,
wonderful. That's
yeah.
wonderful. So, all right, oh my gosh, folks, we have talked about so much. We've talked about transitions, we've talked about strong relationships, we've talked about that mindset of abundance or scarcity. And
Hmm.
we've talked about the future, and we've given you some ideas on how to use artificial intelligence.
yep.
And it's very cool. You guys, if people want to learn more about you or want to reach out to you, how best for them to do that?
So they can go to
Probably
our
go to the
website. Oh, I'm sorry. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. The our
Mhm.
podcast website's probably the best thing. Go to alexandanniepodcast.com and there's a contact form and links to all of our social media from there too.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. Just let my audience know what your podcast is about. And you mentioned that you got some plans for the future. What who should listen in on your podcast?
Everybody.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I mean, I think so because we talk about things that are vacation rental, short-term rental, but we talk about things tangential to that. So like business development in your personal branding, in how building relationships, in communication skills, in
Mhm.
hosting events. Like
Wonderful.
we talk about so much that it really
Growing businesses,
growing businesses,
entrepreneurship.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it actually
Hmm.
kind of touches
Hospitality.
everything in hospitality. But I think it's good for anybody that's looking to be just in business. Or we interview a lot of women in business, and so it's really it kind of bridges a lot of different genres, I would say.
Yeah. And we have a lot of people that listen that are not from directly in the vacation rental space. So I
Yeah.
think something of, I mean, we try anybody we have on the show, we try to make them feel very comfortable and we have a just kind of a fun conversation with them that it feels like you're a fly on the wall of people just, sitting around a table, just getting to know each other. So I
Yeah.
think there's something about the humanity of that too that connects with people that hearing people's struggles and their successes, you can always glean something from somebody.
You just I love how anyway, you just said something that kind of triggered me, and that is humanity, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
all is said and done, folks, AI, yes, it's on the rise. Yes, it's getting smarter. Yes, it's all about intelligence. But the one thing that AI is not going to be able to replace is our own humanity, right?
Hmm.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
relationships with one another. And that's what's going to be left over. And it's a
Hmm.
wonderful, wonderful thing. Some people go, oh my gosh, humanity, that's really? No,
Yeah.
it's a
No, it's
wonderful
a
thing.
good thing. Yeah.
And
That's what's
I've
going to
al-
hopefully save all of us here.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's it's gonna be wonderful. And so tune in, folks, Alex and Annie, and check them out. And it's all amazing. It's all amazing. Anything else you guys want to leave behind? Last comments?
No, just thank you so much for being you and for being just
Yeah.
like such a ray of light wherever you go. And so grateful. I remember meeting you years ago at I think it was at Escapia conference with Aman Bhutani because walked up to you too and said like I used to work at Expedia too, and you said Aman, Annie's an Expedia, and we started talking, and it was just I was so like gobsmacked and just like fangirling over both of you, and you were so kind, and just to come full circle to be able to like I hope call you a friend, and when I see you, it's joyful, and I just appreciate you so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. We've had the opportunity now to record. I think this is the third episode that we've recorded together that you've come on our show twice and now this one. So, and each time it's like, we could talk for hours. I mean, I think when you have
We
people that are on the
could.
same energy wavelength, it's like you could go in all sorts of different
Yep.
directions. But
Yeah.
we appreciate you having us on and just the opportunity to talk to your listeners.
Oh my gosh. And if you guys are willing to come back, I'd love to have you back again sometime.
Anytime.
Yeah,
This is
definitely.
Anytime.
this is so much fun. Folks, all right, Alex and Annie podcast, check it out. And we're living in a world of transition, folks. And so please share this, please subscribe, and we're going to keep on going. One great idea of following someone else's path could
I love
change.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so with
Yeah.
that, Alex, Annie, I love you. God bless you. Thank you again for joining me. The rest of y'all out there, I love you. God bless you. Stay safe. Be good. We'll see you next time. Bye.